You ever get that feeling that you're just spinning your wheels? Like you're working harder than ever, your paycheck is getting bigger, but somehow you're not actually getting any richer? It's this super frustrating paradox, right? Well, what if I told you the answer isn't to work even harder? What if it's all about understanding one incredibly simple rule that just changes the whole game? Okay, let's get into it.
So, to really get this, we gotta go back in time. Picture this. It's 1923, a fancy hotel in Chicago. You've got a meeting of some of the most powerful, richest men on the planet. I mean, we're talking about the heads of the biggest steel companies, the biggest utility companies, the presidents of the New York Stock Exchange. These guys were, absolute titans of industry. But here's the crazy part. Flash forward 25 years, and their lives are in ruins. We're talking penniless, insane, in prison, or even dead by suicide. They had literally all the money in the world. So what on earth went wrong?
Well, their story, it points to this one huge, crucial truth, and it's really the whole point of what we're talking about today. See, it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. Getting more money doesn't magically solve your problems. Actually, a lot of the time, it just pours gasoline on the fire. It just magnifies your bad financial habits. The real key, the real wealth, is financial intelligence. And that story, believe it or not, it's not just some old-timey tale. It actually highlights a problem that traps millions of us right now in what everyone calls the rat race. You know the feeling. It's that modern-day version of the same trap. You're working harder and harder, running faster and faster, but you're not actually going anywhere. You're just stuck on the treadmill. So how does it even start? Well, it usually starts with a script. You know the one I'm talking about, the one we're all taught from day one. Go to school, get good grades, get a safe, secure job with a nice salary. And look, on the surface, that sounds like pretty solid advice, right? But here's the catch. That exact path, if you follow it without the right kind of financial smarts, is actually what builds the cage around you. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, let's walk through a classic example. You've got a young, smart couple. They both land good jobs, and hey, their income starts to climb. So what do they do next? Exactly what we're all told to do. They buy their dream house. But with that house comes a huge mortgage. And of course, you need a new car for the new garage, and new furniture for the new living room. And pretty soon, it's all piling up on credit cards and loans. All of a sudden, their debts, their liabilities are just exploding. And to pay for it all, they've got to work even harder. Sure, their income goes up, but so do their taxes and all those new expenses. They're making more money than they've ever made in their lives, but they've never been more trapped. So, okay, if following the script, working harder, earning more, just puts you deeper and deeper into this hole, then what's the answer? What's the way out? And here's the wild part. The answer, the secret to getting out of the trap, is actually shockingly simple. I'm serious, it's not some complicated formula you need an MBA to figure out. It's just one single powerful rule. And once you really, truly get it, it changes everything. Okay, you ready? Here it is. This is the #1 rule. In fact, it's the only rule for building wealth. You must know the difference between an asset and a liability, and then you buy assets. That's it. That's the whole secret. And it's so simple, right? It's so simple that most people just completely miss how incredibly important it is. And let's make the definitions dead simple, okay? Forget all the confusing financial jargon you've ever heard. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. That's it. That's the whole thing. All that matters is which way the cash is flowing. You know, this simplicity is actually the very reason so many smart, educated people struggle with this concept. We're trained to think that money has to be complicated, so we go looking for these complex solutions. We totally overthink it. But the secret isn't buried in some spreadsheet. It's about looking at the pictures, not the words. It's about understanding the story that the flow of money is telling you. Okay, so let's actually see how this one simple rule plays out in the real world. Because what it does is it creates 3 totally different financial stories, 3 completely different cash flow patterns. All right, first up, let's look at the cash flow pattern of someone who is poor. It's really simple. Money comes in from a job, and it goes right back out again to cover all the basics. Taxes, food, rent, transportation. It's a one-way street. Money in, money out. There's nothing left over to build with. Okay, now for the middle class. And this right here is the trap. The income from their job, it doesn't just go out to expenses. It gets routed through liabilities first. They buy things that they think are assets, like their house or their car. But these things are constantly taking money out of their pocket every single month, right? Mortgages, car payments, property taxes, insurance, repairs. Their income basically just goes to servicing all that debt.
And now, let's look at the cash flow of the rich. The difference is just night and day. See, their income doesn't primarily come from a job. It comes from their assets. We're talking about dividends from stocks, interest from bonds, rent from real estate. That cash flow from their assets pays for their expenses. And then, and this is the absolute key, the money that's left over gets plowed right back into buying, you guessed it, more assets. It creates this powerful, amazing, self-feeding loop of wealth.
So, if you boil this whole thing down to one sentence, it's this. The rich spend their lives buying assets. The poor and the middle class spend their lives buying liabilities that they think are assets. That's the fundamental difference.
Okay, so understanding this is powerful stuff. This is what gives you the ability to take control and start building your own path to freedom. But first, we actually need to change how we think about the word wealth itself.
Forget about net worth for a minute. That's not the goal. The inventor Buckminster Fuller had this brilliant definition of wealth. He said wealth isn't a dollar amount. It's not about being a millionaire. Wealth is a measure of time. It's how long you can survive financially.
So let's make this super personal for a second. Ask yourself this question. If you stopped working today, right now, how long could you survive? How many days forward could you pay all your bills? The answer to that question, whether it's days or weeks or months, that is your true wealth. That's the real measure of your freedom.
And that leads us to the finish line. The real goal here is financial independence. And listen, this isn't some fuzzy, far-off dream. It's a very real, mathematical point. It's the moment your cash flow from your assets is greater than your monthly expenses. When you hit that point, you don't need your job anymore. You work because you want to, not because you have to. You're finally free.
So how do you actually start? You have to start minding your own business. And what that means is your job is your profession, but your business is your asset column. You need to focus all your extra time, all your extra money on one thing, buying income-generating assets. At the same time, you have to be ruthless about keeping your expenses and your liabilities as low as you possibly can. And then when you get a raise or a bonus, you have to fight that urge to upgrade your lifestyle. Don't buy a bigger liability. Use that extra cash to buy another asset. So let's just bring it all home with that one sentence that really says it all. This is the one idea that separates every financial story out there. The rich buy assets, the poor only have expenses. The middle class buys liabilities they think are assets.
Look, the concept is simple, but putting it into practice, that's not always easy. It means you have to unlearn almost everything you've been taught about money. You have to start seeing the world through a different lens. But now you know the rule. You know the one rule that truly matters. So the only question left is, what story will your money tell?